Good morning. Welcome to the weekly meeting. Um, like I mentioned a few minutes ago or a few seconds ago, I have about an hour today, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I went through, I didn't go through the whole list. So if you don't see it over here on the watch list, um, let me know and I'll add it and we can go over it. All right. So first on the list was AUD CAD. Based on the weekly, um, it looks like price pulled back to the 78 or the 8, did not quite the 88, but based on the last weekly structure, um, and it has pulled back to the 78 and sold. However, there is a demand zone here. So price could sell into this demand zone and then continue buying up because this is the current bullish structure. We're still in this bullish structure. So, um, so let's go to the daily. On Friday, we got a bearish move to the downside. Um, Let me see if it's pulling back anywhere. Don't see a pullback as of yet. It's still bearish. Let me see something. Yeah. Yeah, it's still bearish. Um, so if you're trying to buy it back up for a continuation of a sell, um, it needs to break some kind of structure. But remember, if you trade imbalances, you have all this imbalance that price can pull into and then start selling. So just because it breaks some internal structure doesn't mean it's going to start buying. It just means it could buy into this imbalance to then start selling. Of course, if I was trading this, I would be waiting for price to pull back to the zone, look for a shift, and then buy it back up to the highs. So, all right. Any questions on AUD CAD, AUD USD? Um, AUD USD, based on the structure, um, this was the last swing low. Price broke structure here. Um, and it's pulling back to, I think this is almost the same as a UDCAT. Price is pulling back to, now this is the swing high. Let me make that clear. This is the actual swing high here, but there is a supply zone here. Okay. This is the swing high. That the structural, I mean the external swing high. And then you have these moves, internal moves here. You have this internal break of structure. You have this internal swing low and this internal swing high. So price would either have to close below this low for a continuation of a sell or pull back to, I think there was I think there was a daily demand zone. Pull back into this zone to continue buying. I would still be looking for buys because we're still in this bullish structure. So once price got to this zone, of course, it's going to give you a pullback before it gets down there. Um, let's See, I think this is the same as, yep, this one is the same as AUD CAD. Um, so you'll definitely get a pullback. The pullback may just be a break and retest of this zone here, of this swing low here, um, to then sell back down. So if I were going to sell it, I would wait for it to pull back to the zone, look for a shift in structure to then sell to the downside. Um, so about 80 pips. And I think that the same with, um, well, AUD CAD is a little different with the break and retest. You have a couple of zones that price could pull back to. This would be one. So price can pull back into here and then sell. Price could pull back to this level and then sell. Of course, those are not the um, optimal trading zones. That's probably like the 23 and the 38 of the fib or the 28 and whatever it is. I forgot. Um, but an optimal trading entry would be, or the premium zone for price to pull back to would be somewhere up in here. So it can pull back to one of these zones and then start selling. All right. EAE. Let's go to the weekly. So for EA, there was a market structure on a daily, you had a daily break of structure, and then you had a market structure shift. So I marked up the um, supply zone for this shift. Once this shift happened, I marked up the supply zone. So I would be looking for price to pull into this zone to look for a shift in structure on a smaller time frame, well, like maybe like the 4 hour, to then sell either back to these lows, but of course, if you don't get the shift in structure, price could continue buying up, but I don't think there was anything up here other than this right here. If the shift happened, I mean, if the shift didn't happen and price broke this high, then the buy, I would think, would be up to here. Let me see something. And my thought process when I was looking at this was the shift. I mean, this was the structure. Price pulled back into um, a demand zone, so price could just keep buying. But because I saw this market structure shift on the daily, I'm making an assumption that price could just pull into this zone and start selling some more. So that's my thought on Euro AUD. For Euro CAD, there was price has pulled back to a 78. Um, there was a 4 hour break of structure and then a 4 hour market structure shift. Let's see what the weekly is saying. All right. The weekly is telling me that this is my swing low. So price would need to break this low. This is a bullish weekly order block. Price pulled back to the 88 or almost 100%. Price pulled back to the 88, almost 100%, but it did not close below this low. Okay. So I'm going to go down. I'm going to remove this. This is our breakup structure here that made this our swing high and this our swing low. So what this is telling me is that price pulled back to this daily order block, into the wicks of this daily order block, and could continue buying. Although it tapped the 78, it didn't break the structure, the weekly structure. So it broke internal structure, but not this the swing low. So my thought is, because it didn't close below this low, it didn't even wick this low, and started giving bullish momentum. My thought process is that it is going to keep buying. There is a daily supply up here. Right there. There is a daily supply, so price could continue buying to the upside. That's my thoughts on EuroCAD. And again, I marked up a 4-hour supply zone. But again, because price did not break this swing low, I'm looking for a continuation of a buy. I would be looking for a continuation of a buy. So 78 was just a tap to give us a pullback. I would be looking for buys. Any questions on EuroCAD? Euro Chef. You had a question, Will?
Oh no, I thought you might ask another pair.
Oh,
It'll be
okay.
fine.
Okay. Euro Chef. Um, let's see. Okay, so we're at the lowest points of Euro Chef. There's nothing to the left to look at, other than this is our higher time frame swing breakup structure that makes this our swing high. Okay, so let's go back down to the weekly. This zone has become a very strong level of resistance. I mean, support. Um, Price swept this low. This low was swept. We have, um, this is probably likely the protected low. Um, because this low was swept here, and then this low did not go past this low. So we had this bullish momentum right here, this weekly bullish move right here. So there was a daily demand zone. I'm going to go down to the 4-hour. I think I marked up the 1-hour demand zone. Or maybe I marked up the 15-minute. Either way, I'm looking at this zone. Let me go to the 15-minute to buy from. This is Euro Chef. There we go. Okay. So there was a 15. All right. This was the last down candle before the up move. There was a 15-minute order block. So I would be looking for price to pull down into this zone here for a buy. Wait a minute, where's the swing low of that move? Okay, so it's at the bottom of that zone. All right. So that's a 9 pip stop loss. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take it to 20. And if you want to even just take it at the top here, 20 pips. I would be looking to, if you're going to swing this, of course, I would be looking to take it to the swing high, which is all the way up here somewhere, which I can't see it. Up here. Up here. That's a swing trade. But how many? Woof. That thing say 135 pip ratio. Um, but of course, you can take it to the next high, which would be um here.
How many pips is that, Kim?
379 pips.
Yeah, that looks like more of my speed right there.
Yeah, so this would be the next high because yeah. So once price now, if you want to day trade this, you can take it to 174 pips. 175, 76 pips. It's still an 8% trade. Oops. Or you can even take it to this daily supply zone right here. And that's approximately 250 pips. So that's what I see for Euro Chef. GA. Let's go to the weekly. So it looked like price tapped into a supply zone, has pulled back. We have weekly structure here. We have a break of structure here. We have this supply zone. So this is about from this weekly supply zone down to, and I just marked it to this zone because it's looking like a strong key level of resistance and then support, right? So it'll probably come back down to this zone. However, looking at structure here, there is um, this demand zone here. Let's go to the 4 hour. Let's go to the daily. I think that's why. And then I would just mark up this demand zone here for price to pull back to. But we can see that price tapped did a break and a retest. It retested this break right here, this break of this high, right? Retested it and is pushing up to the upside. Now, although we see this, although we're still in bearish structure, it can either just be coming up to this supply zone to continue selling, or if it breaks this high, then we'll be looking for buys. But I do think it's going to start selling. It may even sell and for this liquidity here. But until it breaks this low, which is the actual structure, then I would continue looking for buys. And based on the reasoning for buys is because price is still bullish on the higher time frame to this high. So
Can you put a trend line on that low?
from which low?
Where the wick at in the very bottom?
Right here?
Yeah, down there, all the way up.
You said a fib or a trend line?
Just a trend line. I just wanted to see how.
Um, I can put a trend line. Let me see if there's another one that will, because I don't see another wick to match it up to connect it to. And that's how I draw my trend lines. I just look for wicks to.
Okay, that's cool. No, 'cause I think it's gonna sell to probably 20. Uh,
Yeah, I definitely think it's gonna sell. Um, because when I look at higher time frame, this is the actual monthly break of structure, right? So this is the actual structure based on the monthly. So price could come back. And of course, if it breaks this structure, if it pulls down here, it might just pull back and start selling back down to this low. Because this right here is definitely liquidity. But you have to take it one day at a time, one week at a time. So based on the weekly, we're in this weekly structure. So that's my thought is price is going to pull here and then sell back down to here. But you're saying you wanted to see the wick from, I mean, you wanted to see a trend line from here to, see, I don't know what I'm connecting it to. Maybe here. So with it being, have broken the zone, your trend line, it could pull back and then start selling. But like I said, that doesn't mean it's not gonna, that doesn't mean it's gonna sell all the way down yet because we're still in this bullish structure. So, but this would definitely be the zone that I sell it down to. This is the current swing low, weekly swing low. So that's for GA. All right, G Chef. Um, I think like I can't remember which one it was. Um, price is currently at a level of support, right? Um, so if I go down to the daily, we had this daily shift in structure here. Price pulled back to I think it was a 4 hour or 1 hour demand zone. Um, might have been 1 hour. Price pulled back to this demand zone here. Matter of fact, it filled a gap. There was a gap there that it filled, and then started shifting structure. And now that it has shifted structure, it's coming back. It came back to another demand zone. Um, it Let me go back to the daily. This was a shift. I mean, this was a break of structure here. So this would be my swing high right here. Now prices pulled back and so now it created this liquidity right here. So I would be waiting for price to pull back and I can't, maybe it was a 1 hour or 15-minute zone that I marked up here. But I would be looking for price to take out this liquidity here to then start buying to the upside. And when I say the upside, you can take it 183 pips to the next swing high, which is right here. Internal swing high, or you can take it up to the high, which is 315 pips. And looking at the 4 hour, it's still definitely bearish, but I would definitely be looking for price to pull into 1.06450 to take it, to buy it up at a minimum to this, which is 184 pips. And if you're feeling a little froggy, you can wait. You can take it up 317 pips. All right, NZD CAD. Any questions on G-Chef? NZD CAD. Price has. All right. So NZD CAD based on the weekly, on the monthly. That's the last break of structure. That's the last swing high. This is the last swing low. All right. So really, it's in the middle. But in the middle, it shifted internal structure here. Prices pulled back to this demand zone, has been rejecting this zone. So, because it has been rejecting that zone, I marked up the bottom here of the zone for a reason. Let's see. Okay. So I marked up the bottom of that zone because there is a 4 hour demand zone here. So I would be looking for price to tap into that demand zone for a buy at least up to this high or higher, which is 416 pips. Any questions on NZD CAD? All right. Now these are always on here. So anything y'all want me to look at?
Euro GBP.
Um, Euro GBP. Ugh. Why do y'all trace? Euro GBP. Mm. Um, mm, it's bullish for now, or it's been a few bullish months. Don't trade it, is what I'm. Are you in this?
Yeah,
Oh
I'm in
my.
it.
Oh my gosh. For a buy or sell?
Buying it.
Okay, okay. Um,
I was just gonna take it to 874.13.
so 874. 874.13 daily. So this is the daily supply zone. 4 hour. No, I don't think it's going all the way up there. Um, it might. It might. Because if I'm looking at structure, go back to daily structure. This was the internal break of structure. This is the swing low. It could. Were you buying it from here? This,
I got in at 868.10, and then it pulled back to what is this? 869.20, and I was gonna try to see if it'll go up to
okay, why did you get in at 868.10? And I'm just curious why.
I don't know. Let me see. That well, it hadn't broken the 4 hour the structure yet. I got it off of hold on a second. Let me might have been a 4 hour. Or 1 hour. Okay, if the 4 hour I was kind of late to get in. Um
So why
but I
you get
think
in, ma'am? Ma'am.
I might have been on the lower time frame, Kim. Doggone it.
Mm, I don't know what I'm gonna do with y'all.
I had it tapped institutional candle, right? At 86575. It went up,
This was
pulled
the
back.
last.
I got it on a pullback
This was the last 1 hour swing.
at the double bottom neckline. Let
You
me
got in right
yeah.
here. So price needed to break
Yes.
this structure first, because price could have easily bought into this zone here. Price could have easily bought into this zone and started selling back to the downside. So luckily you got in profit and
Well, we
you
got
went
three
profit.
pushes to the downside, I think, and then I not and you know
Um,
we got our the MMS.
but just had you just got in
Or
down
see,
at
I know.
the demand zone. But the only thing with this, okay, so although this broke structure, right?
Mm.
This is the swing high. This was the swing high. Price shifted structure. So that means price pulled back or pulled back here, shifted structure, and then price pulled back again. So I mean, I'm seeing sales at this point because price, this was the high, this was the swing high, shifted structure, pulled back, didn't break above this high. Shifted structure, pulled back, did not close above this high. Now we're back again in bearish structure. We're still in this bearish structure here. So my guess, and it did pull back into here, but higher time frame is saying that this is a mess. Um, that this is likely going to start selling. And that's just based off the daily structure.
You know, it might have been. You know what? I got in off the It was a weekly bullish order block. That's what it was. I fibbed the weekly bullish order block, and yeah, I should have got in there. Let's see where I got it.
And it could keep buying based off the weekly bullish
I
order.
think it was at the. I took the TP at the not at the very end of the bullish order block, but did I? Yeah, I did. I wasn't taking it to the negative 27.
So and you could next week it could buy up based on the weekly, it's rejecting. Based on the weekly, oh, that did break structure. Um, it could happen. It could happen, but this wouldn't be, well, yeah, it could happen. So why you chose this pair to trade?
Um,
Why do you choose this pair? Because it's a very consolidating pair. Like,
I just chose it off the order block, to be honest with you. And I just was gonna take it to the high that it just came from. Or I was gonna take it all the way, just almost to that high.
this,
I shouldn't have been at nothing anyway. I'd already done for the week. But yeah.
yeah. hmm It could keep going up now that I'm looking at this consolidation. It could keep buying. It could. It's just that this high was never broken. So technically, I wouldn't have been looking for a demand zone until the high is broken.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah. This was an internal break, but if you wait for the external, then you get the moves that you get the trendy moves a lot better. Otherwise, this is consolidation. All right, any other pair?
Can you check UJ and GJ, please?
UJ and GJ. Let's see. UJ weekly. Alrighty. So UJ is this is the break of structure. This is my swing high. And this is higher 10 frame swing low. All right. So we have internal shift in structure starting here. And then price pulled back to almost, I think it tapped into this. Just oops. I think it may have tapped or yep, it did tap it. To that weekly supply zone and then shifted structure. Okay. So now go to the monthly. This is still your swing high. This is your internal swing low. Okay. So price could buy, because I don't see a supply zone right now, for this to buy into and start selling. However, so this could buy back up into this zone. I think it was a daily. Yeah, there was a daily supply zone. But based on the daily, we're still in bullish structure. We're still in this bullish structure here. So if I were going to look for a buy off of UJ, if I were going to look for a trade of UJ, I would be looking for price to pull back to one of two zones. As we know, let's fib it. All right. So price could pull back to this zone here and then start buying. But that's not in a discount area. But it could happen. It could break. There was a break of this high and it could retest and keep buying. Or price can pull back to possibly close this gap. If there is a demand zone at the 88. There's liquidity here. So I would want to see price pull back to the demand zone of this 88 for a buy. That would be an optimal trade and entry for me. Below this low. And then you can take it to back up to this high. If you want to hold it to the negative 27, it all depends on what happens here. It all depends on what happens here. So if price is going to keep pulling back, I would be expecting price to pull back to somewhere the 78 or the 88, specifically the 88 because of this 4-hour demand zone and this liquidity, to then take it back up to the high. So that's my thoughts on UJ. And of course, if price pulls back to this zone here, then price could just keep buying up to this 618. Yeah. So yep, that's what I see for UJ. And for GJ, it looks like GJ has pulled back into this weekly supply zone. I can just tell from here that this was the break of structure. This is my weekly swing low. And this is currently the internal swing high, because this is the swing high. So now if I go down in time frame, price is pulling back, same as UJ. This was the last break of structure. Price pulled into the supply zone. I would be looking for a continuation of a buy from this zone here. But of course, if price closes below there, then you'll be looking for sells back down to these lows. But as of now, we're still in bullish structure, higher time frame bullish structure. So I would be looking for at least to this high, or let me see what. Oh yeah. At least to that high, which was a weekly supply zone from over here in the left. And it was this was the last bearish structure. So I would be looking for the buy into this zone before a push back to the downside. Did that make sense? Did I explain that?
Yes, ma'am.
So yeah, I would definitely. And price may come here, like we said, it came here. That's could be our push back down for this bullish structure to then keep buying. Keep buy until you can't buy no more. Okay.
Can you look at gold, please?
Sure. Oh, gold. Mm. Now, I made a few dollars off of gold last week. But trust me when I tell you I ain't trading gold no more until it pulls back. I'm not doing it. Okay, so we have a little minor structure there. It's a little, it didn't give like a pullback. This is where I want gold to pull back to. This is where I want it to come. I want it to come back down here. Matter of fact, I want it to come right here because this is the swing low and this is the current swing high. Okay. If price could just come back to here, I would put all my money on gold. All of it. And let's see something. So from here to here. Yep, I would put all my money on gold. Even if it just came back to the 618 and retested this break, I would put all my money on gold. Woof. But yeah, for now, gold is on the daily. I'm looking for top. That wouldn't be a sweep. That wouldn't be a daily sweep. So, however, it did close. It didn't sweep this high, but it closed below this previous day low. But that could just be this was a break of structure that made this the swing low and this the swing high. So if I go down to the 4-hour, price pulled back into this zone to possibly keep buying. Break of structure, this candle close here. That made this the swing low, this the swing high. I think Ty would say this was an inside bar for a sell, but he would also say it needs to sweep this high before selling. I'm saying price is still bullish. This little minor structure here, price pulled back to, didn't close below. So, but here's also a supply zone. So I would look for price to pull into here and then look to see what the structure it currently is. And as of right now, the structure is from here to here to, wait a minute. Okay, price did break there. So this would be the structure I would be looking at right here. That's the current structure. So price could pull back and then give more structure. If it gives this kind of structure, then I would be looking for a break of this low to then come back in to sell. Otherwise, Let me pull it up. Otherwise, I think the Dixie is about to sell. So that means gold is probably going to keep buying. So there was bullish structure for the Dixie. And it could pull back, which means this would pull back for a sell, or it could just keep selling. I would be looking for the Dixie to sell into this demand zone, which means am I on the same time frame? Oh, hold on. I'm not on the same time frame. Monthly. I mean 1 hour. Okay. Okay, here we go. So we had this break of structure, this swing low, this swing high. So I would be looking for price to come into this zone and go bullish. Now, bullish could just mean it can come up to here and start selling, or it could keep buying up into it can buy up to then continue selling into this daily demand here. So if this buys up to sell, this should sell down. Let's go to the daily. This should sell down to then buy. And it would be in alignment with the daily bullish structure. This is in alignment with the bearish structure for the Dixie. Because this is, I have this zone right here marked up for Dixie to come down to then start buying. And as you can see, price tapped into this daily supply. It gave bearish momentum. Now it just needs to shift structure, give a market structure shift to sell back into this zone to either push up or continue or break through and continue selling. So that's my thoughts on gold. That is bullish. Didn't break any, didn't give a market structure shift on the external. Oops. So my thoughts is bullish. All right. Any other questions?
Thank you so much, Kim.
You're welcome. If not, that's all I got for y'all today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome. See you all.
Bye
See you.
bye. Have a good day.